Morning, guys. So we're going to go through the homework. From Friday. Okay. So I'm just going to change to boxes so I can plot this graph. Right, so plot the points -1, 7, 4, 2, -3, 1, and 6, 8 on a coordinate plane. So when I'm doing this, I normally pick the biggest number, the biggest single number, and then that dictates where my, sorry, just make sure I'm doing this with black. That dictates the size of my graph. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, just making sure that I have 8 in each direction. I don't need 8 in each direction, like, to be fair. I could just go up in 2s, but it's not a ridiculous number, so I'm going to go with it. Okay, so I'm going to add in my little markings on my number lines, starting with my x-axis and the positive side of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then my negative side of the x-axis, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. And then the positive side of the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's my y. And then -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, excuse me, -7, -8. Sorry. Okay, so -1, 7 is the first one. So we're going to start in the center. You can see my cursor here. We go -1 on the x-axis, and then we go up to 7. So I'm going to put my dot and just, oh, sorry, my pen has stopped working. Hang on, I'm frozen. Okay, I'm back. Okay, there you go. So there's -1, 7, exactly where I said I put it, and then I'm just going to label it A. B is 4, 2, so we're going to go right 4 and up 2. So it goes there for B. C is -3, -1, so we go -3 on the x and then down 1 on the y. So -3, -1 is here for C. And then D, sorry, D is 6, 8. Ooh, sorry, I'm going to go up into this writing a little bit, but it's there. Did you see it? Okay, didn't mean to do that. Graph the lines AB and CD. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line. Let's do it in green. A to B. So place my cursor there in A, and I'm going to draw a line to B. And then I'm going to get a red one. Insert. I'm going to go C to D. So place my cursor there. Oh, sugar, sorry. Ooh, delete. Okay. Insert a line. C to D. Okay, that's part A and B done. Now, the next part there says find AB. Doesn't say a whole lot, but it does have these straight line brackets. and the straight line brackets mean distance or length. Very sorry. Okay, so we go into our table book. We're doing coordinate geometry. We want length, so it's here highlighted in blue. We'll go back into our journal and I'm going to add it in here. Okay. So I've got the formula. Went to my table book and I got the length formula. I recognized that the straight line brackets meant length. Went and got the length formula. Now I've written it down. I would also recommend that you write the points down. So A is -1,7 and B is 4,2. Okay, and in this we are looking for the length of AB. Frozen again. So that's why I chose A and B. Is that okay? Okay, so label them. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And then I'm just going to skip a little bit. Just make sure you put them in the right places. So I'm following the formula. Square root bracket. X2 is 4. There's a minus in the formula, so write it down. X1 is -1. Then squared, then plus, then bracket, just copying the formula. Y2 is 2. There is a minus in the formula, and then Y1 is 7, close bracket, squared. Okay, so I'll deal now with this double minus here, so it becomes 4 plus 1 plus 2 minus 7 is -5 squared. And again, we have 5 squared plus -5 squared. 5 squared is 25 plus -5 squared is, sorry, I'm just going to do it off to the side here. So -5 squared is -5 multiplied by -5. So the two minuses make a plus, and then you've just got 25. And so that is the square root. That is the square root of 50. Square root of 50 is not a perfect square, so we're just going to leave it be. And that's part C. Part D. Okay, so part D says find the midpoint. This time it's CD, so it's different points. And it's midpoint, so it's a different formula. So I'm going to go get my formula. So go into my table book. Midpoint is there in yellow. Put it back in here. So there's midpoint. And then, like I said, it's C and D. So we're going to write down C is -3 -1. And D is 6, 8. Okay, and then again, same thing, label them, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and then just follow the formula and put the numbers in the right places. So it starts with, there's a bracket there, it's kind of covered by my green circle, but there is a bracket. So X1 is -3, then write down the plus that's in the formula, and then X2 is 6 over 2, and then Y1 is -1, the plus in the formula, and Y2 is 8 over 2. Simplify. So -3 plus 6 is 3 over 2, and -1 plus 8 is 7 over 2. Neither of them, like, they're both, you can change it to 1.5 and 3.5 if you want, but I'm not going to. That's D. Find the equation of AB. So AB is a line, so that's essentially find the equation of the line. So again, it's a different formula. So I go in here, and when I'm been asked to find the equation of a line, look, formula to find equation of a line, it's this top formula here. Sorry, homework. So this is part E. I'm going to put in my formula. To fill out this formula, we need two things. We need a point and we need a slope. Okay? So, this is part E, so we're looking for the equation of AB. So in terms of choosing, sorry, in terms of choosing a point, you can choose either A or B. Yeah? You can't, it has to be one of those two. So these are my two choices, A or B. I'm going to go with B because it doesn't have any minuses. Always easier with no minuses. So B was 4, 2. So that's going to be my point. 4, 2. And then to get the slope of AB, you can either do out the formula for slope, or because I've already drawn the graph, I could probably just do a rise over run, which I think is what I'm going to do. Now, again, it's totally up to you. You should be able to do both. I'll do both for you just cause. So, there's my run. What color can I use? We'll go black. And there's my rise. Yeah. So the rise there is starting at 2 and going to 7. So that's a rise of 5. And the run is, sorry, we can't quite see it there, but the run is starting there at -1 and going to 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. So that's a run of 5. So to get the slope, it's going to be rise over run. The rise is 5. The run is 5. So that's 1, but it's a downward sloping line. So that's going to be -1. Like I said, you can do it using the formula. I'm only going to do this once, but I'll show you. So A is -1, 7, and B is 4, 2. I want to know slope, so I'm going to go get my slope formula. Should be like the only one we haven't used. There it is there in pink. So I'm going to go over here. Oh, okay, it's big enough. And so there's my slope formula, and here's my points. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Sub them in the right places. So the formula starts with y2, which is 2. Then there's a minus in the formula. Y1 is 7 over. X2 is 4. There's a minus in the formula, and then -1. So that's -5 on top. These two minuses make a plus. So that's 4 plus 1, which is 5 on the bottom, and -5 over 5 is -1. Okay, so there it is using rise over run, and there it is using the formula. Either way, it's -1. Okay, so I'll go back down to my question. And we know now that the slope is -1. So here's x1, y1, and m. So sub in. The first y we leave alone. There's a minus in the formula. Y1 is 2, then equals. M is -1. Bracket, leave that x alone. There's a minus in the formula, and x1 is 4. Okay, same. This is exactly like what we did on Friday. So you're going to distributively multiply this into the bracket. So we get y minus 2 equals minus 1x plus 4. And then we want to isolate this y. So we plus 2 and plus 2. So then we get y equals minus 1x plus 6 as your answer to part E. And part F is the same question, just with the other 2 points. So I'm just going to bring this down. So part F, find the equation of CD. So same thing, just using C and D. Again, I'm going to choose D because it's the one with no minuses. So what was D? 6, 8? 6, 8. So the point is 6, 8. And the slope, again, you have a choice when you're getting the slope. You can either do rise over run or you can do the formula. I'm going to... Sorry, I'm going to do rise over run. So we'll put in our... What should I use? Black for the rise. So my rise... Oh, where does it stop? There. Yeah, and then my run is this way. So the rise starts there at minus 1 and goes up to 8. So that's a 9, rise of 9. And then the run starts at minus 3 and goes to 6. So that's 9. So same as above, slope equals rise over run, which is 9 over 9, which is 1. And this is a positively sloping line, so it is just 1. And like I said, you can do that using the formula as well if you want. I'm not going to... So there's your 1. Then we have x1, y1, and m. So we go y minus 8 equals 1 times x minus 6. Same thing. Distributively multiply this. And we get y minus 8 equals 1x minus 6. We want to isolate this one. So we plus the 8 and we plus the 8. So then we get y equals 1x plus 2. Sorry. There you go. And then the last one is use your graphs to write down the point of intersection. So I was saying that something similar to this might maybe come up in the exam. And this, like, obviously, this is heavily scaffolded, but this is how you do it. You sketch the lines. How do you find the point of intersection? Well, you can see it. It's there. So the x coordinate of the point of intersection is 2, and the y coordinate of the point of intersection is 4. So the point of intersection is 2, 4. Okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. So that's your that was your homework. And the only thing and the last thing, sorry, we have to do in coordinate geometry, there is one more thing, but it's not coming up in the exam, so I'm going to stop here with parallel and perpendicular lines. So hopefully it's, I don't know, is it obvious? It should be obvious. In order for lines to be parallel, they must have the same slope. Okay, you can see these two lines here. They both have the same slope, which means they both tilt the same angle. So if they tilt the same angle, like the whole point of parallel lines is that they're the same distance apart and they never meet, which means they have to have the same slope. Okay, so it says it over here. If two lines are parallel, they have equal slopes. So the slope of the first line is the same as the slope of the second line. Now, perpendicular is not quite so straightforward. So with perpendicular lines, go back, it says it here. If you start here, so if two lines are perpendicular, then the product, remember the word product means multiply. The product of their slopes equals -1. In other words, if you take the first slope and multiply by the second slope, you should get -1. Okay, so that's how perpendicular lines work. When you multiply their slopes, you get -1. So parallel lines, same slope. Perpendicular lines, you multiply their slopes to get -1. Okay, I don't want to do that first, and I want to do this one. Okay, so L is the line 2x plus 4y minus 6. Identify which of the following lines are parallel to L and which ones are perpendicular. So the only way you know if lines are either parallel or perpendicular is by looking at slopes. Okay, so we're going to get the slopes of all of these lines. So I'm going to take, I'll try and color code them. Here's the first one, the yellow one. So we take 2x plus 4y minus 6 equals 0. And the way we're going to get the slope is we're going to isolate y. We're going to use that y equals mx plus c because that's the slope. The slope is the number in front of x. Okay? So the way we're going to do it for all 5 lines is we're going to isolate y. Okay? So there's my y. I need to isolate it. So I do that, first of all, I need to move the 2x. I do that with a minus 2x and a minus 2x on the far side. I need to move the minus 6. I do that with a plus 6 and a plus 6 on the far side. So I have 4y equals minus 2x plus 6. And then I still want to isolate y. So I'm going to need to divide by 4 to cancel the 4. So then I need to divide by 4 here and I need to divide by 4 here. Okay, whatever you do to the left, you have to do to the right. So then I get y equals minus 2 over 4 is the same as minus a half x, and 6 over 4 is the same as 3 over 2. Okay, so what's the slope of this line? It's here in front of the x, so the slope equals minus a half. Okay, it's there in front of the x, the slope is minus a half. So that's the first line up here. Okay, so now let's do line, what are they calling it? J. So line J is 2x plus 4y minus 12 equals 0. We're going to go through the same process. So I want to isolate this y. I am going to minus 2x here, minus 2x here. I'm going to plus the 12, plus the 12. This is all to isolate my y. So now I have 4y equals minus 2x plus 12. And then I want to separate. So I'm going to divide by 4 to cancel the 4. Divide by 4 here, divide by 4 here. So I get y equals, so minus 2 over 4 again simplifies to minus a half x, and 12 over 4 is just 3. So you find the slope in front of the x, so the slope of this one is minus a half. Just add that up there. I'm just adding it to the question. Okay, keep going. K. K is 3x plus 6y equals 7. Okay, again, we're trying to isolate the y. Less to do this time. The 7 is already moved, so we just have to move the 3x. So minus 3x. So then I get 6y equals minus 3x plus 7. Then I want to isolate the y, so I'm going to divide by 6, but then I have to divide by 6 here and here. The y is now isolated. Minus 3 over 6 is the same as minus a half, and 7 over 6 doesn't divide, so just leave it. We find the slope here in front of the x. So the slope equals minus a half. So go back and add it in. Okay. Then we're going to do m. So m is x minus 2y plus 4 equals 0. Okay, so we are trying to isolate the y. So we'll need to do minus x. We'll need to do minus 4 and minus 4. That leaves us with, I'm in green, minus 2y equals minus x minus 4. To separate the y from the minus 2, I will need to divide by minus 2. But then I'll need to divide here by minus 2, and I'll need to divide here by minus 2. Yeah? And so this gives me y. There is an invisible 1 in here, so that is a half because the minuses cancel. And this is plus 2. So the slope is here. So the slope is a half for that one. Okay, and then the very last one, sorry, I do have slope as a half there. Ooh. Can't see them back in. N. So n is y equals 2x plus 4. So the job is to isolate the y. It's already isolated. So we can just take the slope from here. So the slope is 2. Back here, slope equals 2. Okay, so we found the slope of the yellow line at the top there to be minus a half. It's kind of gone a bit with the yellow, but it's minus a half. So we have to identify which ones are parallel and which ones are perpendicular. So remembering that parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, J here has a slope of minus a half, so that's going to be parallel. K, went too far up my circle. K has a slope of minus a half, so that's parallel. M has a slope of a half, so that's not. And n has a slope of 2, so that's not parallel. Okay, but they might be perpendicular. Okay, so remember, if they're perpendicular, then when we multiply the slopes, we should get minus 1. So let's check it out. So let's check if m is perpendicular. So we take the minus a half, which is this slope. We multiply it by the half. And if you do that on your calculator, you'll get minus a quarter. Okay, so that's not minus 1. So it's not perpendicular. So it's not parallel and it's not perpendicular. Okay, let's try the parallel test on n. Okay, so the slope of our line, our test line, is minus a half. The slope of n is 2. And if you multiply them, you get minus 1. And minus 1 is the magic number. So that means that n and the line L, the original line, are perpendicular. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to give you one. K has a slope of I'm going to give you 3 questions there. These 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, they're going to be for homework. Okay, See you soon.